Hello, my dear students, and welcome to your favorite educational YouTube channel, Educator Prerna. That's me, or as you popularly know me as English Wali Ma'am. So आज हमारा थर्ड सेशन है ऑफ विच चैप्टर अ बेकर फ्रॉम गोवा. सो इस चैप्टर के हम क्वेश्चंस जो हैं उनको सॉल्व करेंगे इन टेक्स्ट एंड एंड टेक्स्ट क्वेश्चंस को. एंड ऑफ कोर्स आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू सम एक्स्ट्रा क्वेश्चंस दैट आर लाइकली टू बी आस्क्ड फ्रॉम दिस पर्टिकुलर चैप्टर. And lastly, we are going to underline the important extracts from the story. So let us start. So first set of questions we see on page number 86. So in text questions hai. Alright, let's see. It says, what are the elders in Goa nostalgic about? So the very first line of the chapter it says, so our elders are often heard reminiscing nostalgically about the good old Portuguese days, the Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. All right, so they are basically nostalgic about the good old Portuguese days when they used to eat bread or enjoy bread. Is bread making still popular in Goa? Yes. And how do you know that? Because, of course, considering the fact that if you come to the next line, it says, the eaters of loaves might have vanished, but the makers are still there. Who? The bread makers. We still have amongst us the mixers, the molders, and those who bake the loaves. Those age-old, time-tested furnaces still exist. The fire in the furnaces have not yet been extinguished. All right. What does this line mean? That the fire has still not been extinguished. That means that this practice of bread making still continues in Goa. Then what is the baker called? He was called as a padder. When would the baker come every day? Why did the children run to meet him? So the baker would come twice a day. And why would the children run to meet him? Because as per the author or the narrator, he says that the baker, he was like a friend to us, he was our companion and he was our guide. And of course the children also wanted to relish the bread bangles. Okay, now we come to page number 87. First question is match the following. So as marriage gifts, what was being used? Sweet bread called bowl. For a party or a feast, simple bread. For a daughter's engagement, sandwiches. And for Christmas, cakes and bolognese. This you can find on the first paragraph itself, which is on page number 87. Then next question, what did the baker wear in the in the Portuguese days? He used to wear a long dress, long frock, which was called as kabai. And when the author was young, he would wear. So come to the second paragraph on page number 87. It says, the baker or the bread seller of those days had a peculiar dress known as kabai. It was a single piece long frock reaching down to the knees. In our childhood, we saw bakers wearing a shirt and trousers. So trousers which was shorter than full length ones but longer than half pants. Even today, anyone who wears half pants which reaches just below the knees is called as a baker or a padder. So aapko till and longer than half pants. So this part shows what the baker used to wear when the author was young. Then who invites the comment he's dressed like a padder? Why? ये अभी हमने underline करा है that someone who wears trousers which is reaches just below the knees invites the comment that he is dressed like a padder. Where were the monthly accounts of the baker recorded? On the walls. इस पेज नंबर 87 के लास्ट पैराग्राफ पे सेकेंड लाइन, मंथली अकाउंट्स यूज्ड टू बी रिकॉर्डेड ऑन सम वॉल इन पेंसिल. देन व्हाट डज अ जैक फ्रूट लाइक अपीयरेंस मीन्स? फैट या फिर प्लम्प, दोनों में से आप कोई भी वर्ड यूज कर सकते हो. अब आते हैं क्वेश्चंस पे, एंड टेक्स्ट क्वेश्चंस पे जो चैप्टर के एंड में है, विच इज पेज वी आर ऑन पेज नंबर 88. So it says, which of these statements are correct? The padder was an important person in the village in old times. Of course, it's correct. Padders still exist in Goa? Yes, because it says that the furnaces, they have still not vanished. The padders went away with the Portuguese? No. Then the padders continue to wear a single piece long frock? No, not at all. How do we know that? Because the author clearly says that even today when someone wear trousers below that reaches just below the knees, that person is called as a padder. Bread and cakes were an integral part of Goan life in the old days. Now, this is a little contradictory statement. So, it is of course correct because considering that how on different occasions bread या bread के related items बनते थे, and incorrect in the sense that ये सिर्फ old times में नहीं होता था. Even today, bread is an important part. Alright. Traditional bread baking is still a very profitable business. Yes. And then last, padders and their families starve in the present times. No, this is incorrect. Why? Because abhi हमने क्या पढ़ा है that this is still a profitable business. नेक्स्ट इज ब्रेड एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ गोवन लाइफ. हाउ डू यू नो दिस? इसका आंसर बहुत सिंपल है. 87 पेज नंबर 87 पे जो फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ है, मैरिज गिफ्ट्स आर मीनिंगलेस से लेकर दस द एसेंस ऑफ बेकर्स फर्नेस इन द विलेज इज एब्सोल्युटली essential. All right. Then take the right answer. What is the tone of the author when he says the following? The thud and the jingle of traditional baker's bamboo can still be heard in some places. So he is being nostalgic. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the famous profession. Again, he is being nostalgic. I still recall the typical fragrance of those loaves. आप किसी चीज़ को याद कर रहे हो, something which is a fond memory of your childhood days, a fond memory of the childhood days. So you are being nostalgic. Then the tiger never brushed his teeth. Hot tea could wash and clean everything so nicely after all. So this is naughty also, but more appropriate is funny. Cakes and bolanas are a must for Christmas as well as other festivals. This is again a matter of fact. Again on page number 87, if you see the first paragraph, उसमें ये line लिखी गई है. The baker and his family never starved. They always looked happy and prosperous. This is again a matter of fact. Alright. तो ये तो हुए टेक्स्ट बुक के questions. अब हम देखते हैं कुछ. Okay. So first is, how is bread an important part of the how is bread an important part of celebration in Goa? पेज नंबर 87 पे जो आपके पास पैराग्राफ है, फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ, दैट इज द आंसर. Second, the baker and his family never starved. Elaborate. So talking about how baking bread or baking as such was a very prosperous profession, क्योंकि हर फेस्टिवल पे डेली बेसिस पे तो ब्रेड रिक्वायर्ड होती ही थी, बट हर फेस्टिवल पे भी ब्रेड या ब्रेड से रिलेटेड जो आइटम्स थे, जो फूड आइटम्स थे, उनकी डिमांड होती थी. The author says, during our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion and guide. So you need to elaborate this. So basically talking about that how the children, they felt really comfortable talking to the baker. Maybe they would confide in him, या फिर मे बी वो अपने चाइल्डहुड की कुछ बातें जो होती थी वो बेकर से डिस्कस करते थे, उससे मे बी सजेशंस भी मांगते होंगे. ऑलराइट, सो ऑल दीज एक्सप्लेन दैट द बेकर वाज अ कंपेनियन, फ्रेंड एंड अ गाइड. Then long question is relation of the baker with the Goan people. Again, how people talking about how the old people or the elderly people, they would sound nostalgic thinking about the good old Portuguese days. Then how is the effect of traditional bread bakers still seen in Goa of today? All right, so again isme bhi you will talk about how bread and bread related food items were important in the or are still important in Goa. Okay, now we come to the important extracts. Okay, so on page number 85, I want you to underline the third line. Starting from the third line, those eaters of loaves might have vanished but the makers are still there. यहाँ से लेकर has not yet been extinguished. Okay, this talking about that the profession of baker or bread making still exists in Goa. All right, come to page number 86. Then maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. These bakers are even today known as patter in Goa. Keep on underlining. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion and guide. He used to come at least twice a day. यहाँ से लेकर till the last line, sometimes it was the sweet bread of special make. Alright. Then underline, the baker made his musical entry on the scene with a jing-jang sound of his specially made bamboo staff. Alright, only this line. Then you come, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th or the 7th line. I can still recall the typical fragrance of those loaves. Loaves for the elders and bangles for the children. ये underline करो आप. उसके बाद पेज नंबर 87 जो है वो कंप्लीट पेज जो है दैट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट विद रिगार्ड टू योर एग्जाम फ्रॉम एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, जहाँ पर आपको शॉर्ट आंसर, लॉन्ग आंसर या फिर एक्सट्रैक्ट बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस जो हैं वो पूछे जा सकते हैं. Alright, so this is all from this particular chapter. Now we will meet in the next session, जहाँ पर हम इस चैप्टर ग्लिम्पसेस ऑफ इंडिया जो है इसका सेकंड चैप्टर पढ़ेंगे, विच इज कूल. ओके, थैंक यू.